Who needs friends? Who needs family when you have microtransactions? That's right. Colette and Matt have entered the chat. Welcome back. We're so happy to have you with
Please
us.
don't say NFTs. Please don't say NFTs. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't.
Who is this voice? This is Matt, but who is this other voice here?
It's me.
It's a me.
It's a me. It's Colette. It's Colette. I'm the person whose name is in the title.
That's
one of the names.
That's how you know.
The title.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
We missed you last week. How are things with your situation? If you wanna share any updates here.
Well, what happened was that there's an issue with my PC, which is just over a year old and literally just like about 2 weeks out of warranty, which is just so unfair. That it is just like shutting down in the middle of me just doing things, like just going to sleep. And so we have had to unplug it and try to diagnose it and get some things to try to figure out what needs replacing. So that has not happened yet because my husband and I have jobs and lives. And so we are recording this week using a laptop that is precisely 7 years old and could choke and die at any minute.
We were like trying to figure this out. You're like, well, I could try my laptop, but it doesn't really do things like play a YouTube video too well.
Well, I mean, it does. It plays the video. It just struggles, is what it is. But it's not a smooth video. But for the people that listened all the way back in the Retroforce Go days, they might be thinking, oh, well, this just might mean that Colette ends up in the bucket, and the bucket is a beloved place that was the nickname during that podcast for when we all had terrible sound. Matt Silverman, you would have literally curled up and died if you could have heard the first 5 episodes. The sound lover in you would have just been like, I cannot live. So how so many people listen to us really with relish and love, I'll never know, because we sounded wretched. But anyway, you can be sure that even if my elderly computer like gasps its last, somehow, some way, I'll still sound better than I did when I was in the bucket 14 years ago for Retroforce Go.
But you've revealed the dirty secret of podcasting is that you really does not matter what you sound like, only who you are and what you say and what's going on.
And how frustrating is that for you, though, as a person who this is not the only podcast that you make? Or are you just like, God damn it?
It's really fascinating. And here's an example. Like, aside from video game shows and other like online culture shows that I enjoy, one of my other is something else that really tickles me and that I really enjoy consuming content around is like late night TV or like 90s SNL or like, hey, remember when these old television shows were on the air? Well, here are the people from that time talking about it. And there's a brand new show. And I'm not like a huge fan of like celebrities coming in and eating the podcast industry. Like that's a different conversation. But Dana Carvey and David Spade, who are like, legendary comic performers from the SNL days, have started a podcast where they bring on guests to talk about what it was like being on SNL. And this could be former hosts. This could be cast members, like old, classic cast members, new cast members. It's such a good premise for the show. And this is like fucking catnip to me. I love this. I love them. So it's a brand new show and it's called Fly on the Wall. And if you like that era of SNL and you like these performers, I do recommend it because they are really funny. David Spade is so goddamn funny to me.
Yeah,
he
is.
The point of this story is that they're bringing on Chris Rock, Tom Hanks, Tina Fey, like the who's who of comedy talent and acting talent and SNL talent. And let me tell you something. The guests sound like fucking dog shit. And it's because they're on Zoom. And this is the weird dichotomy of this. It's like, you're interviewing Tom fucking Hanks. And on one hand, I'm like, you couldn't send this dude a microphone. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh, I know exactly why you can't send this dude a microphone, because he's Tom Hanks and he's got 400 other things to do and worry about. Yep. he doesn't have anyone at his house to set up a microphone.
Nope.
He's just got to pop into Zoom, sound like shit, talk for an hour, and go make the next movie or whatever Tom Hanks does in his day. And I'm telling you this to tell you, if Tom Hanks can get on Zoom and sound like shit and everyone loves it, it's okay to be in the bucket, is what I'm trying to say with this story.
Well, it seems terrible somehow, but at the same time, I will say that when it comes to what I like to listen to things that are very crisp and very clear and well made versus things that are in the bucket. No offense
Because
to my former self.
You're a person of culture. That's why.
Yes,
you're correct.
Perhaps this is so. At any rate, yeah.
Well, we are here to discuss our fourth most favoritist video game of all time, our personal picks on our ongoing list of top 5 of all time. But first, we have been shaken to our very core.
Shooketh.
We have been shooketh by the Nintendo Direct for February, which as of this recording literally just happened. I just finished watching it and we are now recording, and we would be remiss if we did not discuss it. Our Discord is already popping with
oh my God, I haven't even opened that.
Pulling out their wallets.
Oh my God, I'm going to go look there after this podcast, but yes.
So we will continue that conversation there, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just read off a list of announcements that we just saw from a news article, and I'm just going to throw them at you, and you say, oh my God, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life, or you're going to say, whatever, I don't care, what's that? Whatever, and just whatever comes into your brain, you say.
This is going to make me sound like a real asshole because I don't care about the majority of things that were announced.
That's great. When there are things that you don't care about, maybe I do, and then we'll go there. But we're going to say, a minute, 2 minutes tops on each item, and then moving on to the real show, right?
Okay.
Here we go. A new Fire Emblem game for 3 houses, but it's not that. It's like a Dynasty Warriors game. It's a Musou game.
Nope.
Yeah, same for me. It looks great, looks cool, but I've never played those games, and so
nope.
God bless. No Man's Sky is coming to Nintendo Switch.
Oh my God! So faithful listeners, I was watching the Direct, not when it was airing, but not long after. And I texted Matt, even though we were going to talk in 30 minutes, and was like, oh my God, did you see that? And I was sitting on the sofa with my husband, and my husband said, I bet you Matt is going to replay the entire thing on the Switch. And I was like, who could blame the man?
There's so much to unpack here. One is, how could this possibly exist on the Switch? And it's funny, I was looking back. I'm you know how Nintendo has a Direct and then they drop individual trailers for each announcement. Yeah. Individual videos. So I went to the specific No Man's Sky video, and I can understand. I see the compromises that are being made, and it's a good thing. Like, it's running at 30 frames. It looks really solid at that frame rate. I can see the texture downgrades. Like, I understand the compromises that need to get made to get a game like this on Switch. But like, for me especially, it's like TBD. Like, will the reviews come in and be like, wow, they did it? Like The Witcher 3. Like, when The Witcher 3 was like, yep, we're coming to Switch, the world was like, come on. Really?
Is that really going to roll?
Is that really going to roll? And everything I've read about it is like, oh my God, it's a flawless, perfect port. Mm-hmm. Obviously, at a lower resolution, obviously lower textures or whatever, locked to 30, whatever you got to do. But like, it's solid, and that's all you can ask for. And then this is another dimension of it. Like, I don't know that I will go back to this game ever or in the near future. I shouldn't say that. Maybe one day. Mm-hmm. But there's also a world where, as the Steam Deck hype ramps up, mm-hmm. I'm really more and more excited and convinced that it's really for me, and it is worth the money mm-hmm. for me to get that. And in that world, it's like, well, I already own it on Steam, and it will play much better on the Steam Deck. So if I want to have handheld No Man's Sky,
right,
that will be my path.
Right.
But if this opens up this game to people who don't know anything about it and only own a Switch, and they're just sort of, I'm a Switch only player, then God bless. I hope we welcome new travelers to the Galactic Hub. Mm-hmm. I hope you all come in, because it's It's a beautiful, spectacular achievement, this game.
Yeah. That is very exciting indeed. And my husband was like, I wonder if there'll be crossplay. And I was like, that would be great, because I think that would really network, a new base of potential players with players that have been in it like you for a long time. But that's neither here nor there. And that is a whole new conversation.
It's a whole new conversation. If I know anything, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm the expert on this game, but like I have followed this game so closely and deeply for so many years.
You have.
The short answer is I'm not an official spokesperson for Hello Games, but yes, there will almost certainly be crossplay, because every other platform does crossplay with each other. There are no limitations on crossplay, and there is. I learned this recently. There's like a Hello Games account system. So you actually you create, not that you create an account, but it's just like, here's your code, and then you just text the code to your friend on PlayStation, and you're playing together. Like, it's so effortless. And there's also this ambient where you enter a certain area of the game. Like, you are billions of light years away from any other player at any time. And then you enter this communal area, and there's players from all platforms at all times in this communal area, in this instance of a communal area. So like to section off the Switch players would be criminal and strange. So I'm almost certain it won't happen.
Yeah.
To those wondering. Mario Strikers,
no,
which is Battle League.
I would watch other people play it, but I'm never really attracted to that type of game. So no.
Yeah, I have the same reaction. They talked about it like it was some franchise. I don't know that I'm aware of it. And as we were watching the trailer, I'm like, cool, a Mario thing that's soccer, and I'm like, is it? I can't tell if this looks fun, but I hope it's fun for people who want to have fun with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's for a person, a specific type of gamer who's like, yes, this is exactly the experience I want. And I'm not that person, but that's totally okay.
Great. Are you a Chrono Cross remastered person rather?
Oh my fucking God.
There it is. There it is.
I was on the phone with a friend who called me while I was in the middle of watching the replay of the Direct. So she was talking about a relationship problem, and this is a person I love very much. So she was talking, and I was trying not to look up so I wouldn't pay attention to the Direct. And my eyes literally flicked up as soon as the Chrono Cross logo came across the screen. And I had to clap my hand over my mouth because I was literally about to yell. And so instead I just was like, I had to muffle my enthusiasm because, okay, first off, Chrono Cross is, God, how can I encapsulate this into like 60 seconds? Chrono Cross is some of my favorite video game music of all time, like top 5 all time.
Wow.
And it's also a game that I feel like always had to live in the shadow of Chrono Trigger and was really a very good game. But unfortunately, I think that it would have been better off if it didn't have the Chrono Trigger name on it, in my opinion. And I think, you know what? We could literally spend a whole fucking episode on that. So I'm just going to not say anything more. But I haven't visited this game since its original release year, and I've been listening to the music ever since. So, honestly,
interesting.
I could not be more thrilled, to have a remaster, and also a remaster that's coming fairly soon. I can't. Wait.
April 7th. That's really soon. No, I want you to expound a bit, mostly because I want you to convince me that this is worth my time, because zero minimal connection to the Chrono Trigger characters or universe, to my understanding, which is it's a minus, and it's in the minus column there, number one.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You have a couple pieces here. First of all, this is a SquareSoft game, and how I feel about original SquareSoft pre-Enix days. Beautiful, has all of the characteristics and flourishes of a SquareSoft game. Unusual, has some really, really, really cool mechanics and little bits to it. And I mean, mind you, this is my memory of a game that came out in 1999, no, I'm sorry, 1990. No, Chrono Trigger was 1995. This was 1999. So,
Okay.
That first of all, but like for me, I feel like the best way to go into this game, if you chose to play it, would be to think of it as it's not related to Chrono Trigger.
Its own thing. It's a new IP, or it's its own IP somehow.
It's totally its own IP. It is just, the storyline is unpredictable. I don't want to give anything away, but I mean, the only thing it has in common, I would say, is that it has there's two parallel worlds, and it's across time and space. So definitely some connections.
Thematic connection, but no in-world connection. I guess my hesitation, especially looking at the footage in the direct, was like, ooh, a 1999-ish polygonal thing that, does it hold up? Does it feel good? Does it play well? And will be eager to hear your sort of updated review of like, I love this in its time and I'm playing it now, and like, yeesh, or wow.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I honestly
they remastered
don't know, but I will say that when I fired up Final Fantasy IX a couple years ago, thinking, oh, I haven't played this, it's been remastered now, I'm going to play it, I was every bit as enchanted as I was the first time, because to me, there is a distinct personality, feeling, atmosphere about Squaresoft. And I just love it. So, of course I'm biased, right? But I would say that, yes, you're right. Like, I can see what you're seeing. But, for $20, quite honestly, I would say you could do worse giving it a shot.
You could do worse. And it's like, oh, I played 5 to 10 hours of this, important game. And maybe it isn't for me, but I would like to know what it's all about as a fan of that time.
I really hope it holds up. I have no way of knowing if it will, or if the glorious, Yasunori Mitsuda soundtrack is just, the thing that makes me have such emotions about it. But I really think that it will probably still stand up well. So we'll see.
Is it the same composer as Chrono Trigger?
Yes.
Or no?
Yes.
Okay. Not Uematsu, which is early Final Fantasy. Am I remembering the correct names here?
You are, but Uematsu was specifically associated with Final Fantasy, whereas Yasunori Mitsuda did everything for the Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross soundtracks, and also for the Xenogears, which was the beginning of like the Xeno saga.
Yeah. Okay.
Incredible, beautiful musician. But
great.
Yeah. So, if you're like, I don't really like this, okay, like maybe you tried it, you don't like it, just listen to the fucking soundtrack.
That's cool.
Like, oh my God.
And then there's a whole discussion there of like, will this soundtrack mean enough to you if you did not experience it in the game? I
don't know. I don't know. It might not click with you at all. I mean, those are the interesting conversations, right?
April 7th. So you are going to be in there day one, obviously, and we eagerly await your review, your moment here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Nintendo Switch Sports, a la Wii Sports, but for the Switch. Really?
I don't like sports of any kind. Honestly, the only sport that I could be like, yeah, I like that sport is probably like ice skating. Like, I don't. Sports is not interesting to me. I'm the person that loved Final Fantasy X with every ounce of my heart and soul, except when they made me play Blitzball, which made me want to die.
I really agree with you on all that wholeheartedly. My big jaw drop here is in two dimensions. One is like, it's so bizarre to me that they did not even like launch the Switch with a not, it wouldn't be called Wii Sports, but like Wii Sports, you cannot overstate how revolutionary and important Wii Sports was. Like, the Wii was the best-selling game console of all time because grandma could play bowling on it. You know what I mean? Like, that was a watershed moment in video games. And so you have a console now with Joy-Cons that have motion, and there were no sports games on it there, and so it's like, hey, it's 2022 or 2023 or whenever this is coming out, and we finally got Wii Sports. Welcome back.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it would be the type of thing. I was never really a big Wii fan anyway for that console, like that kind of kicked off stuff like this. So I feel like if it depends on who you play with. If we had children, I feel like I might be much more excited about this. But since we don't, that's just not something that we would naturally go do. You know what I mean?
It looks a little bare bones in a couple dimensions. One, it's like, it's Wii Sports that you know and love, and here's 5 sports. 3 of them are basically tennis. It's like tennis, badminton, and volleyball, which, I'm being a jerk when I say this, but like, they're all the same fucking game. It's, you hit something over a net. Okay. Mm-hmm. I know they're not the same game, but okay. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to add more stuff like golf, which is cool. Like, I kind of dig the idea of like Wii Sports as a service where there's like tournaments and upgrades and new courses and new arenas. Like, that would be cool. I don't know that Nintendo would do that, but that's a cool concept that I would subscribe to if it was a thing. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I could totally see. And maybe in the right setting, it would be fun for me to pick it up and play. I don't know, but am I going to buy it? No.
Yeah, I hear that. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 confirmed. So perplexed that I just don't care about this series. Loved Xenogears, which is its Squaresoft core game that started the series. Have never been able to engage. I don't know why. It's not like the game is not good. I just can't click with it. So I wasn't, I was very neutral. I was like, oh, look. Actually, I felt kind of bad. I was like, oh, look, another Xenosaga game, which everyone that I respect and know is like, oh my God, so good. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Well, sorry, to clarify, when you say you liked and enjoyed and played through Xenogears, but not Xenoblade Chronicles. Did I understand that right? Or you tried Xenogears and
you did.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I loved Xenogears when it came out. 19.
What is that? What system are we talking?
PlayStation
what era?
1.
And so that is the first game, and then Xenoblade Chronicles is subsequent to that?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, Xenogears was the launch of that whole franchise, and then the franchise then continued on to, what was the first game right after that? I think it was Xenogears and then Xenosaga. There were quite a few Xenosagas, and then there was a big gap, and then 2010 was Xenoblade Chronicles, and then that's when that started coming. So, but would you believe that this series has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 games in this series?
Yeah, it's always shocking when I see it all laid out.
Xenoblade Chronicles was originally a Wii game in 2010.
Wii, okay. Yeah, because I guess I'm wondering, it started on PlayStation, but then it seems to have made the jump to Nintendo and is Nintendo exclusive and has been for a long time. Did they buy Monolith, or I don't want to...
That I don't know for sure, but I do know that I think through the end of the Xenosaga time, Xenogears Xenosaga time, it was all PlayStation. And then the last Xenosaga game was 2006, and then there was a big fat gap. And then when it came back, it was 2010, and it came back on Nintendo, and it stayed there.
Or Monolith Software, originally owned by Namco, later Bandai Namco, until being bought out by Nintendo in 2007. So this was an acquisition.
Yeah, you had it. So yeah.
Yeah. So 2 quick things. I may have said this before. Like you said, this series has everything I love. Mm-hmm. Fucking hated
really?
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like so many games you're like, it's not for me. Or I bounced off it.
You were
whatever.
Angry.
I don't need to get into it here, but the battle system was so overwrought, and I love complexity. I love complexity, but it was just
too much.
I don't understand it's like, oh, there's a little rat, in an RPG, it's like, hey, there's a rat here. It's the first monster. And then it's like 400 auto battling systems that go crazy. And I read every wiki. I watched every tutorial. I played the game for hours. I don't know what's going on in this battle system, which is a bad feeling when you're like, how do I strategize? What should I equip? What should I do? And then secondly, the map sucks ass. I could not find where I was going. I just couldn't find my way around. And third, I love a good anime as much as the next guy, but like the tropes and the female representation in this game was so ridiculous. And
I agree.
Like, I would be if my children or my wife saw what was on the screen while I was playing it, I would be embarrassed.
Oh, that's terrible.
And those things combined, I was like, I need to stop this. I'm reading Reddit posts of like 300 hours, the post game, the expansion. This is the greatest game of all time. Just give it 30 hours and it's going to be amazing. And I really wanted to get there with that.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get that. And I hate that. I hate that it's that way. But
right. And then interestingly, this trailer captivated me.
Really?
I thought it was stunning. I thought the graphics and the character designs and the weaponry, and there's obviously mechanical creatures and other I was floored by how beautiful this game looks in its trailers, and also was very pleased to see lots of female characters that looked like normal people and not like, giant private parts being shown. Sorry to be a grandfather.
Just boobs everywhere.
And so again, what is it, a 45-second trailer, whatever the fuck it is, but like there is something about the art style and the voice acting and the gravity of this trailer that I was like, oh, okay, let's see. We'll keep an eye on this one.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
September.
Interesting. Okay.
Up next, Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings.
So excited about this. So excited because I never played Earthbound. So many people so many people I dearly fucking love have been like, this game changed my life. Like, okay. Yeah. So here it is. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm going to get to play Earthbound. And not only am I going to get to play Earthbound, but I'm going to get to play it like today. And like, there's nothing that this ADHDer loves more than instant gratification. I'm like, yes, beautiful today. So like,
it's a beautiful thing.
I mean, the moment this podcast is over, I'm going to go throw myself on the sofa and start playing it. I finished playing, Littlewood, and I've been like, what should I move on to next?
Yeah, you were looking for something. Oh my God, what a beautiful So I'm so excited. Timing. I'm so excited for you that you've I've literally never touched this. I've never played it, and you're going in completely cold and blind, aside from, cultural understanding.
There's definitely been plenty of little cultural bits, for sure. So, I definitely that part will be new for me, but oh my God, I cannot wait to have this experience. So yes, tonight.
That's so fun. Report in next week. We will obviously catch up with you on your Earthbound experience.
I will. I can't wait.
Every single Nintendo Direct, the running joke is like, maybe they'll finally put Earthbound on SNES.
Right. I've heard that. Right. I've heard that for so long.
They'll never do it. We'll never get it. And then they're just like, here it is.
Yep.
Play it tonight.
Yep.
Have fun. And I'm hazy on the lineage here, but Earthbound was Super Nintendo, and then Earthbound Beginnings, which is I guess that's the first Mother game, which was on the original Famicom, so NES, but I don't think that ever came to the West. And then Mother 3, the third game, is still there have been fan translations, but that's still not included in this package here. That's still unknown, I guess.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know, but I think I'm kind of still caught up in like the, oh my God, I'm going to get to play Earthbound. Like that. I haven't thought much past that. You know what I mean? But
oh no, totally. Yeah.
I'm like, it's yes.
The Give Us Mother 3 memes are strong. And so I hope this will satisfy the fandom for a little while until they want the third game. I skipped or missed or wasn't interested in Earthbound in its time, despite being a ravenous RPG player, and came to it much later and really found it special and charming and funny, but never finished it. So this is one for me to very much go back and give it its due as well, even though I'm not going in cold as you are. So please keep us posted.
I might even stay up late to play it. I don't know. Anyway,
next. Well, that's unprecedented.
Next.
Okay. So, is it the president of Nintendo who does the whole thing? Is that who that is?
I don't know. I don't even know who the president of Nintendo is right now, which is a complete gamer oversight. But
we'll clarify that. We'll look that up. But he's doing his thing. He's like, y'all like Mario Kart, right? You're all having fun with that Mario Kart 8, and everyone around our table, we're all watching it together, and everyone's like, oh, it's Mario Kart 9. It's coming. This is it. This is it.
No.
Or he said something like, people have been playing Mario Kart 8 since 2018. Get ready for something new. And we're like, oh. And then he's like, how about we give you 1,000 billion more tracks?
And you're like, but
as paid DLC.
You're like, wait. No.
Well, at first we're like, no. And then you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, no, I'll pay for this. I will. This is great. This is great.
I mean,
what if you could have Mario Kart 9 in your Mario Kart 8?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I didn't think about it that way at first. I've never been much of a Mario Kart person. It's there, I would play it if someone handed it to me. But yeah, I get that. I do know that Patrick is very excited to get that. So.
Yep. Do you remember on this very program where we were saying, oh, what if you mix this genre with that genre, or what would we like to see in the future? And somebody, I don't know if it was a guest or one of us, we were like, Mario Kart as a live service game makes a lot of sense, where you could create tracks, or you could subscribe to tracks and get more Mario Kart in the same game engine. And here it is, more or less.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that we should take credit for this, and this was our idea, and we should sue.
That sounds terrific. And then after we sue, we're going to get really rich, and then we can quit our jobs and just make this podcast full time, and that's it.
Yeah. All right, great. That's our plan.
Yeah, it's good. It's real good.
Portal 1 and Portal 2 on the Nintendo Switch.
I think that they'd be really fun to revisit. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, yeah, but it was also like, I'd play that.
Yeah.
So that's
same.
That's my
and
feel.
I was my initial reaction was like, oh my God, it's the Portal on a non-PC platform. This is major. But I had to look it up, and it's like, it has come to consoles previously. I was mistaken. So it's really cool, and it's exciting, and great for anyone who's never played it, because my God,
I know
these games.
I know. I wonder how they'll be after all that time. I feel like they'll still be quite good.
Oh yeah. On our channel, I did a let's play with my daughter, and I was like, this game's gonna blow your mind. Not a let's play, but like a quick chopped up edit of her experiencing Portal for the first time as a kid, and it's really fun. It's really funny, and it was cool to watch a kid's mind get blown by like, wait, okay, if I go in here, I can come out. Wait, what? Because there's not been anything quite like it since, which is remarkable. I guess there's, what's that shooter? Not Hyperscape. That just closed down. There's like a Halo with portals shooter that's out now that everyone's talking about. But short of that, there are no Portal likes that I can think of, which is interesting considering how influential the game is.
Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't think about that. I guess it was kind of in a league of its own.
Yep. This is not a new announcement. We already had the release date and lots of trailers and demos and stuff. But Triangle Strategy from Square Enix.
I think that even though I'm not a big strategy person, I have to admit that it looks interesting to me.
Good. Yep. Yeah, it's a must play for me. I might wait for a review or two, but it's got everything I want, and I hope that it delivers. They're really pumping it up and hyping it up with content, with like demos and trailers and material, and like they're doing like, here's this character and now here's this character. Like they're really going hard on it, and I feel like they wouldn't if it wasn't great. You know what I mean? I mean, not like publishers don't hype their games and they end up being bad, but like they're taking care with it to be like, no, this is the beginning of a whole new IP, and it's going to be great. Trust us, kind of thing.
Definitely, I agree.
All right, you're going to have to help me with this one because I've never heard of it. Live Alive.
I've never heard of it either, and it was interesting because the way they kind of posed it is like, this is this perennial classic, and I was like, did I miss it?
In Japan.
Oh, only in Japan. Okay, you see, remember I was on the phone for some of this, so it's live to live.
I'm probably saying it wrong. Live the letter A, live, or live a live. I have no idea. The Kotaku article is saying classic Squaresoft JRPG.
Wow.
Which has never been released in the West.
Cool. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize this. I've never heard of it, and I am gonna play it because it's a Squaresoft game that I haven't played.
Exactly, right? What a time to be alive, where all this stuff that never made it over now has a place in our, in our libraries in a real meaningful way. Of like, they did the work to localize it, they're patching it up, or they're remastering the stuff. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was going to say I couldn't have seen that coming, but of course I couldn't because I didn't know it existed.
The majesty of the Nintendo Direct. This is what it's all about. Klonoa. I have no idea what this is.
I've seen it before. It is an older franchise, and I've never played it. I know some people like really loved it, but I was not one of them. I just never played it at all. So total like no reaction for me.
Yep, same. It looks like a low budget Sonic or Sonic knockoff, I don't mean, I hope I'm not offending anyone when I say that if you love this game, then I hope it's awesome.
Well, I mean, and maybe someone in the Discord will be like, let me tell you why it is not that at all.
Oh, please do.
Right.
I hope that happens. We knew about Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which is coming end of March 25th, and they just showed more of it, and it looks delightful.
Like the fact that Kirby eats big items and then you can see them in his body. Like, give me that. Take my money. I'll pre-order it. Like $59.99, whatever. Like, just give me me I love Kirby so much.
How could it be bad?
It
right?
Can't be.
It can't be.
Amazing.
Great.
Amazing.
Great. Front Mission First, which is a remake of Front Mission, which I really am not familiar with at all, but it's a tactical tactical strategy mech game, which has a lot of words in there that I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, so I do not like tactical strategy, and I typically do not like mech games either, so you can guess what my reaction to this was.
Great. Hard pass.
Hard pass
from Colette. Splatoon 3, they're showing off some co-op. I don't know if this is like a campaign or if this is the multiplayer stuff, but do you have any Splatoon experience?
No, my only Splatoon experience is that a good friend of mine really loved playing it, and it looked like a cute game, but it just didn't look like something that I would be particularly attracted to, so I never have played it to this day, and probably won't, because let's be honest, there's 10 fucking billion T games out there. Yep. So it's like probably not going to happen. But hey, cheers to everyone that's excited about Splatoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a big thing that you don't really hear about enough, and it's got just this huge player base. And I have resolved it has Splatoon, the concept of it, and Splatoon 2 has piqued my interest recently. But I have resolved to just be like, I'll just wait for 3 and just start there, because obviously it'll have all the new bells and whistles of whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's probably where I'll jump in.
That's a really good idea.
Speaking of tactical things you don't care about, Advance Wars 1 and 2, those remakes,
don't care.
More footage of that.
Nope.
I never played these, but they are interesting to me, and people really love them. So I might. The aesthetic is a little goofy to me. If I'm going to play a tactical thing, I'll play Fire Emblem or XCOM or Triangle Strategy. If I'm going to choose one of those, I will probably choose those instead of Advance Wars. But people love Advance Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the fandom is definitely excited about that one.
Last but not least, at least on this list, apologies if I am missing anything that you are hyped for. And you, the listener, and you, Colette, a game called Breath of the Wild 3. What? No, just kidding. Sorry. Mr. X.
First of all, we wouldn't be recording because I would still be laying on the sofa screaming like 2+ hours later. You'd be like, they have to send an ambulance to that house.
911, what's your emergency? They really showed Breath of the Wild 3 and 2's not even out yet.
Oh, God. Oh, that's a good image.
Last but not least, Metroid Dread is getting new game modes, which is interesting and cool. And so the first game mode is like one hit and you're dead. And I'm looking at this, and my daughter's with me, and we're both like, nope. What do you create? Stupid, bad, no. Why? And then the second mode is called like rookie mode or something, which I guess you regenerate your health faster or whatever. And that's cool. We've talked about like easy mode as an accessibility feature. And if this allows people to finish or get into Metroid Dread, then that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I am not a Metroid player, as we have discussed before, but I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that Nintendo is working on like expanding pre-existing stuff that's not like Animal Crossing, for instance, because
right, adding DLC and updates and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I also think it's cool that some of this stuff is falling under the umbrella of like if you pay for the online membership, like how you paid for it and you got the Animal Crossing. Right. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool. I appreciate that, because I think that Nintendo games are, on the whole, incredibly well made, well crafted, like really engaging. And like, I think it's really nice to have more to do in those worlds if you really like them.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Completely agree. We should note that the additional tracks for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe are rolling out in an interesting way. I believe you pay one price and then you get waves of tracks. So the first wave is like, here's these 4 tracks. And then some months later, you get an update and it's like, there's 4 more tracks. And then there's 4. That's really fun. It's stuff to look forward to. And I believe it's one price and you get everything. And it's a lot of tracks. And also it's included in the expanded Nintendo Switch Online, which, if you will like the N64 games and the Sega games and Animal Crossing DLC and the Mario Kart expansions, that's a pretty okay deal for the price that they have been charging.
Yeah.
Now it seems very worthwhile for those core franchises, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I hope to see more of it.
All right. That is it. Any final thoughts on the Direct besides Earthbound time tonight?
No, I'm excited, honestly. Even though there were only a few things that I was like really excited about, like that's enough for me.
Yeah. Fully hear you and agree. All right, it is time to talk about our most favoritist games of all time. Our number 4.
I feel like you're going to ask me to go first.
Well, I was going to say that you went first last time, and I like that. I've been talking a lot, so I think I would love to give you the stage now. But if there's a reason why you think you should not go first, tell me now.
No, I don't mind going first. It's totally fine.
Okay. All right.
You're like, okay, so say it.
so go. What are you
So
waiting
wait,
for?
but we did a cool little music thing last time, right?
Yes.
So
Are you ready for the cue?
So yes, my number 4 game is Final Fantasy VII.
Whoa.
Okay, wait, I wasn't expecting that level of shock.
Why am I shocked? Because on a small list of most favoritist games of all time, I feel like there will be other Final Fantasies on your list. And I know that you have love for 7, but I didn't know that it would be in a top 5. So please proceed.
Well,
this
I told you, right, that I wrote these down and then I had to remove some from the list, which FYI, or no, not FYI. By the way, I think we should definitely do an honorable mention at the end of the number 1 episode, because there's a few in there for me. But we'll
plan to do an honorable mention for this slot. If you were wrestling with what should go, and obviously unless it's a spoiler for a future list, but if there was something that didn't make the cut here, then I would like to know why.
It is a spoiler because you were right in saying that there was more than one Final Fantasy on the list, and so I had to decide what place they were going to go into, and so that was a lot of but this and this, and there was this and there was this, and I will just say that the other Final Fantasy ranked higher because of storytelling. I think that Final Fantasy VII has a good story. I think that Final Fantasy VII also has a lot of vagueness in the last portion. I would say the last 25% of the game that I personally would really love to see clarified. And I think maybe the remake might try to do that. So I'm looking forward to that. Like, I really feel like they fleshed out a lot of things that were not super clear in the first chapter of the remake. So anyway, but yeah, like I could not imagine this not being in that top 5. I just couldn't imagine it. So I thought about how I felt when I saw a commercial for this game on television and how I was awed and so excited by seeing a commercial for this game on television. And I remember it was a time period where it was not cool to play games. And I felt like, oh my gosh, if people see this commercial, maybe they'll see how cool the thing that I love is. And even though I hadn't even played the game, I was like, oh man, wow. Yeah.
Is it your earliest memory of a TV commercial for a specific game? Because I only remember ephemera from that time of like, get the new Nintendo system, or guys, get this bundle. But I don't recall a 30-second, break into the cartoons and here's Super Mario. Like, I don't have any memories of that.
Well, I know that there were definitely commercials for NES games, like no question. Or maybe they were for the Nintendo system, and then like they showed snippets of the games.
Snippets, but yeah, but for a
whole commercial dedicated just to the game, like I was like saucer-eyed with like my heart like thumping in my chest, and I can't remember for sure, but I think I have a vague memory of finding a way to record it, like figuring out where it came on and then like recording it on a VHS tape.
Yep.
So just incredibly, my awe and wonder at that world, at the way it looked, at the things about it. I mean, up to then, the RPGs I had played, with the exception of Chrono Trigger, which I adored, were all like specifically like set in medieval settings.
Right. Yes.
And I liked that, but I had no idea how excited I would be to be in like a futuristic, or I mean, not even futuristic. I mean, it's a fantasy setting, but I feel like there's definitely some futuristic elements about it, I think.
A post-industrial setting.
Oh my God, I went bananas. bananas. And I was just so excited by that. And then, I think maybe the reason why I never had a really powerful click with Final Fantasy until 7 was because that was the setting I needed to have that reaction.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, for me, it was
That's
just
cool.
perfect. And I mean, like if I review all of my favorite RPGs, for instance, like there's really almost never one that has a medieval setting. They're almost all like unusual types of settings like this.
Right.
So that was just, blew my mind. I remember as a, probably, I don't know, maybe 16 or 17-year-old being like also amazed at the maturity because Barrett said shit in the game. And I was like, oh my God, cursing in video games? Like that was like, God, like if my teenage self could only have known that there would be video games in the future that would say fuck like thousands of times within like the runtime. But I was like, oh my God, like it's, and then like, it was also cool to me because like, I remember thinking like, oh, I really haven't played very many games with Black characters before, but like Barrett was a Black character. And I was like, wow, that's actually really cool. Cause like my family had Black friends and I knew they existed, but I wondered why, like, I didn't see them in video games. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was like a really cool thing to me. And I felt also like, so many of the medieval RPG style games were about saving a princess. And I think without being able to put it into words then, but I can do it now, I felt that neither Tifa or Aerith really needed saving per se. Like Cloud helps them both. And I mean, yes, he's definitely looking after Aerith to a degree, but like she's far from helpless.
Yep.
And really, I think all of the females in that game on the whole are pretty interesting. I just loved that too. I mean, I could really go on and on and on about it, but I really feel like the whole story, the way that they spin it out, with Cloud and, oh, he's an ex-soldier and blah, 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 blah. And then when you like find out what you find out about him and about what his memories really are. And I know it's a very old game, but I'm not going to spoil it because some people may not have played it or maybe are playing it, for remake for the first time.
Yeah, the remake.
It really just floored me. I just felt like there was no storytelling like that I had ever experienced before. So really that, and music, I love the music. I mean, it's a game for me. We talked about like what made us choose what, and like, it's a game for me that made me go back, that I will always, in my memory, I will always see like a milestone of how this game changed me, Yep. And I think all of the games on my list are that, really. Like they changed me irrevocably at some point in the path of my life.
Spectacular.
So yeah, that's kind of it.
You should go on. You're saying, oh, I could go on, but you should, this is the time to go on. You should. I mean, I'm not saying, there's more to say if there's not, but like, it's so nice to hear how special this is to you. It's just really, I'm really enjoying hearing the reasons and a lot of what you have just said are parallel reasons why 6 it was so important to me as my fifth game.
Right. Yeah. And I loved hearing that story too. Like it is really nice to hear those stories because, of course you can't have those experiences yourself. Your games were different, but it is so nice because what it's like, right? You know what it's like to have that, that connection, that magical feeling, all those things. So yeah, but I just trying to think of a few moments from it that really fascinated me so much then and still do now. The character of Genova, like for instance, like what the fuck? Like that was some like real like early 90s like dark anime shit and like the kind of stuff that I loved watching when I became an anime fan, Ghost in the Shell, Akira, Vampire Hunter D, like stuff that was pretty dark. And I felt like the whole Genova concept was very much in that same kind of picture, like, whoa, like what is this? Like where did this, character come from? And it's so interesting too, because I also feel like when you look at Sephiroth, who, by the way, the other day I found out was 6'6", 6'6" tall.
Like that's his canonical height. For some, that is a fact that is known to the fandom for some reason.
I never knew
it matters.
that, and I saw this list of like Square Enix characters and their canonical heights for some reason, and it was like, which Square Enix character is the same height as you? And I showed it to Patrick, and he was like, so Sephiroth was a fucking basketball player, and I was like, Jesus Christ, do you know how tall he would have been? But anyway, I'm getting off the track. The point is, I feel like after that Square always tried to find like another, like they create other villains that could potentially ever stand up to that level. And they've just never succeeded.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Never. And I mean, I could go as far as to say, and many would, right, that like before Sephiroth, Kefka was that.
Yes.
Yeah. Not having gone through that the game myself and had the experience you had, I can definitely say, yeah, like Kefka and Sephiroth were probably like the pinnacle for them, because I don't feel like anything else was ever quite on that same level.
And yes, it's and this is so interesting to me. I wonder also if like the megamaniacal godlike villain became passe over time, because it's so over the top now, but in its context, in its time and its context, it was like, this is the ultimate big bad. And Chrono Trigger skipped over that because the villain you thought was the villain is not. It's just an organism from another world that's just doing its thing. And that I found to be poetic. Actually, I love that they got rid of the big bad and just made it like basically almost like an environmental calamity or a global crisis that is not. It's not. There's no villain. There's no person.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know anything about 8, 9, 10, etc. to know whether those maniacal villains faded away, or they tried to do that and they just never lived up to the Sephiroth.
Well, I mean, I think it's a really good question. I feel like Final Fantasy VIII was different in that there wasn't there wasn't an overarching villain. Like they try to set one up for you, but then like things change with her role in the middle of the game, and I won't go into detail about that. But like, yeah, not. I have a memory of getting to the last fight, the last fight against Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII, and the music is, One Winged Angel, which I'm sure you've heard. And I remember, as whatever age I was, definitely a teenager, just feeling dread, like true dread, at this game that I'm about to experience this. Yeah, I just can't, I don't know if I've ever had another battle where I've been like, fuck. Like in the same way, when
you're that age, this is all you have going on, and the stakes of this battle are everything. Like as a grown-up now, you're fighting the big boss of a video game, and like that's fun and cool and interesting and whatever, but that if you can't do it or you get frustrated, you're just like, it's 400 other games I'm going to play now.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing more important in your life than defeating the ultimate big bad of your favorite video game of this moment in time. Like, yeah, that's, and it's a little bittersweet to think like, well, we can never. It would be very hard to set the stakes that high again in an experience, because we just know as adults that like it's not that it's, we know it's not real as a teenager, but like, you got other shit going on that is more important than this.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. Like I think about it, right? I'm kind of thinking about, well, what makes a villain, which once again, that's probably like an entire episode. We should do like
Sure.
gaming's best villains episodes. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I love that.
But like, thinking about his story actually, like, and I'm kind of reflecting on it, there's lots of details, but like when I think about his story and where he came from and what he experienced, what I'm pausing to kind of think about is that, most villains are pretty one-dimensional, really.
Yeah.
Like if you think about, and this is no insult meant whatsoever, because I love, love, love this villain, but like, if you think about Chrono Trigger and you think about Lavos, he's just a big baddie, like, you're not like, oh, like he was hurt as a child. Like, no, he's just, Lavos.
Well, but even, and that's anomalous, as we were saying, but even go to Kefka. Like, Kefka's just a psycho from minute one. And there's no tragic backstory. There's no sympathy for him. He just is psychotic and he just wants power from the very first opening second of the game. And you just have to kill him and just to defeat him. But my memory of Sephiroth is that obviously there is much more complexity, which is like, how do you that is the ultimate. He is the ultimate video game villain of his time. There's a reason why he is, meme worthy or whatever. I think
it's story. Like I'm as we're talking, I'm like looking at, like I grabbed my phone because I was like, well, there's a wiki page on Sephiroth, and as I'm like quickly going through it, I'm going like, yeah, like the amount of story around this character is incredible, and I kind of think about other villains and kind of feel like the amount of story spent on them was not as detailed as that was, although
not before that.
No. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but
that's great.
I think a lot of people, are like, oh, Final Fantasy VII, it gets too much credit, blah, 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 blah. And I understand, like, it's all personal to whatever, made an impact on you. But yeah, for me, this game made an impact I will never, never, never forget. And, playing that first episode of the remake and hearing that music redone by an orchestra and seeing these characters in a level that I've never seen them before. And I was absolutely overwhelmed. Like I every moment was just heaven for me, and so I can't wait till the next one comes out. And I know that I will be every bit as excited and awed and enthralled, honestly, as I really was that first day I saw the commercial. Like something about this story just hit exactly with me perfect.
Right.
So yeah, it is very beloved. And as I'm telling you this, I'm like, oh God, did I put it too low on the list? But then I look at the list again and I'm like, no, I think it's in the right place. It's just, it's hard, as I'm sure you struggle with your own list, but I think it's in the right place despite how important it was.
I'm looking forward to seeing where it is in the context of the rest of your list now, given everything you've said. This is why this is really fun. And then you said something else, which was like, oh, some people think it's over. You didn't say overrated, but like, oh, that is not important. As important as people make it out to be. And I'm intrigued by that because I missed it because I didn't own PlayStation. This was when Square Enix or Square, went PlayStation exclusive and played it much later on PC. And so it just did not mean as much to me, but I simultaneously say like this wasn't my game, but I fully respect and understand and agree with quote unquote everyone who say, no, this was the one that changed everything. Like I can't refute that, even though it wasn't the one that changed me, so I think that's interesting too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Yeah, it was really nice to kind of relive all that, I suppose I could say, and just kind of go back into those memories because, mostly they're just in my head and I'm not really talking about them. So I'm glad that I had an opportunity for us to do that here.
Nice. Here, so you played the original in its time. You have played the remake recently, and my question is, now that it is very easily available on Switch and whatever, like, have you revisited the original in recent memory or the recent past, and would you recommend someone to do so? Like I I should go back to this game, but I am concerned that the original will be a little rough.
Oh, it's more than a little rough. It's more than a little rough. I mean, unless you were a person that was like really cool with like graphics that really look rough now, which some people are, but I'm not. So like for me to go back to it is like purely out of nostalgia, and I have gone back to it many times, but I've really never gotten past like a 20-hour replay. I've always given up.
Interesting.
And I knew that if it was ever remade, that would probably be the time I would play it again. And now it's here. However, I will say that after it got remastered for the Switch, the original game, I got that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this actually looks a lot better. Like, just some smoothing to make, your eyes not bleed when you're looking at some of those textures. Cause, it's just a really rough, time period. It was like one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then a year later, you're like, oh my God, Yeah,
there ain't no smoothing that's going to smooth out like the one polygon head of Cloud or whatever, whatever it is. But, have you seen, this was recent, whatever modding community that does whatever it does, they got the original version or the PC version to run at 60 frames or like even maybe like 120 frames or something. Mm-hmm. And there's footage of it, and it's very cool because the game runs like at a very low frame rate. Like I think it runs at like below 30 frames. Like it might run at like 20 frames or something, which is really rough to the modern eye. But then, through modding or AI or something, they're interpolating the frames to make it look really smooth from a frame rate perspective. And it's wild. It's wild. This is going a little astray of the topic, but you ever, like you go to your parents' house or your grandma's house or a friend's house, and they have that bullshit motion smoothing on the TV, and so
right, yes, I hate it.
Movies look like weird soap operas. It's called the soap opera, and it feels wrong. But like your average person doesn't see it or notice it. They just think like, wow, everything looks so smooth.
Yeah.
That's what they are doing to this game, but for movies it's horrible. It's a horrible thing, but for video games it's what you want. And so seeing this old game running at like really flawless 60 is like wild to see it. You don't realize how cool it is until you see it. There's a really cool woman who speedruns it on Games Done Quick on their Twitch channel.
Really?
And it's lovely to see that because there are speedrunners who are like, I'm just competitive and I'm just trying to get the best time, but this is more of a like she really walks you through everything, and she's like, okay, at this part, this is what the developer did this, but we're going to break through the wall and we're going to do this part, and this part is the part that everyone remembers, but I'm going to skip over it. Like it's almost like historical developer like context to everything that's going on in the game at every moment. Like it was so educational. And what's funny is like my daughter, who has no context for this game, no clue what it is or what, she was like riveted by a speed run of Final Fantasy VII.
Really?
And I was like, wow, weird, interesting.
Wow.
Very cool. I think her name is Tina. It's like Tina's RPG show. And she used to come on every Thursday or something on the Games Done Quick Twitch channel.
Huh.
And I just loved her knowledge about the thing, about the skeleton of this game and how to break it apart and analyze it. It was very cool.
Wow. That's really cool. I would maybe like you to send me a link to that.
Yeah. I think I will. Yep. Good stuff. Man, this is hard because now I just want to play all the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, that is inevitably going to be a real problem with this series. I know it.
Okay, I think I'm ready to reveal. Is there any like, oh, what's it going to be? Do you have theories? Because like I said, I was intrigued and shocked about where a Final Fantasy could be and how many of them there could be on your list. So Any setup here?
I mean, I have some ideas, but I don't know which one would be in this place, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut.
Okay. Let's see if your ideas align. My number 4 favorite game of all time is Civilization, probably Civilization 4.
That actually was going to be one of my guesses, but it was just going to be a Civilization game. There's no way I could have known which one.
I hate to be a cheater. I hate the cheaters, but I'm gonna lump like a franchise in here. And you tell me if I'm breaking too many rules. I'm gonna declare for officialness' sake that it's Civilization 4, because that's the one. That's where I began with the franchise, and there was a magic there to me in my mind that really didn't. Despite the games getting more complex and interesting, there was just something about the atmosphere in 4 that really grabbed me, and the 5 and 6 didn't quite capture that, even though I do love them both. So I'm saying Civilization as a franchise, but I'm saying Civilization 4 as a game, and it just combines so many things that I love from all the other games that I love, like I love strategy. I love tactical. I love exploration. I love building. I love slow incremental progress. And there's a genre for all of those things. There's 1,000 different games you can play, but there's something about the 4X genre and Civ being like the queen of that genre that is just like it has everything inside of it. It contains multitudes. And, I'm finding that this list for me, and you have said similar things, is like, I didn't know video games could be this until I encountered this game. For number 5, for me, it was Final Fantasy. Like, I didn't know storytelling could be this amazing or complex or interesting in a video game until that game came along. I didn't understand how deep the strategic rabbit hole could go until I encountered Civilization, especially in the context of like a game like Age of Empires, which I played obsessively for many years with like online with friends and the campaign and the multiplayer and stuff. And comparing these two side by side is interesting to me because Age of Empires, like it presents itself as like you can choose the civilization you want to be, and here are real historical units, and here's what castles looked like at this time, and that's cool. But at the end of the day, it is a real-time strategy game. It's just Warcraft. It's just mine the stone and the gold as fast as you can to then build units to then clobber the opponent. There's no like historical journey, in a game like that, even though it sort of purports to be historical. And then Civ predates that game, but I only came to Civ at Civ 4, and it was like, no matter how you play this, no matter what civilization you are playing, there is a rhythm and an arc to this that's like, oh, right. Like writing, the technology of writing was not invented by human beings until, 4000 BC, 3000 BC, whenever it was. And that happens in the game, and it changes your trajectory forward in the game. Like you can do new things now that you have, after thousands of years, you have figured out writing. And it's like, oh, right, okay. Just knowing that, just seeing that in the game, and just playing as a civilization through progress and through time, it just kind of was like, oh, right, this is what happened in real life too. Like this is what humans went through over the like truly the longest arc of history.
Wow. And you're in the middle of that.
You're in the middle of that, and it matters because you're like, this comes before this, which comes before this, which comes, and it's different every time, and the circumstance. So maybe you're discovering a certain technology in 3050 BC, and in the next game you're way ahead and you're discovering it in 4080 BC, whatever it is. Those things vary, but I truly, truly felt that I had a deeper grasp on human history and civilization after like living through it in a game, meaning like you could look at a moment in history, or you could look at something in school in a history book, or watch a movie, and you could be like, right, okay, all right, we have steam power here, which means this was invented, but this was not invented, or this form of government was, a classical republic, which we've had for thousands of years, but this form of government was not conceived yet. The things we took for granted as a modern society were not even conceivable to ancient people. And like, we know that from going to school, but we did not live that as part of like a gameplay experience. And that insight, as shallow and silly and trivial as it really is, because like here I am as a dumb kid, thinking I'm some like expert on history because I played a fucking video game. Like, obviously that's not true, but it deepened my perception of time and history. And another thing is like, you think about a turn-based game and you're like, okay, turn 1 and then turn 2 happens, whatever. But like, the rubber banding of time in a game of civilization is like between turn 1 and turn 2 is like 500 years. Like,
wow.
Nothing fucking happens from between turn 1 and turn 2, which is 500, many human lifetimes. Nothing happens. And then by the time you're at the end of the game, each turn is like 1 year. So like, you can it gives you an understanding of the acceleration of technology, of like many human generations pass, and very little changes about our world and our civilization. And today we live in a world where, remember the internet 5 years ago? That was a completely different galaxy from where we are today. And the things that my kids will do and say and be interested in and enjoy, and the jobs they will have, are completely disconnected from anything we understand today. Like, seeing that acceleration of culture and technology I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah.
And I owe a lot of that to perceiving it and understanding it through a video game. And you have your sim cities of the world, and you have your tactical, I'm going to move my units here and let me grow my colony. And like, there's lots of those games, and I love all of those games. I love me some Sim City or some City Skylines. But this is like, let's go from 4000 BC and end up on Mars. The breadth of that is so mind-blowing to me that I could not believe it could be in a video game. And that is why, even though I have been playing Civ recently, and I hope it's not recency bias, but like, I had not played Civ for a very long time. And when I went back to make the list, I was like, no, I think this has to be here for me. It really is so important. So yeah, that's it. I don't know if I have anything else to say there besides like, it's just so big, and I love the bigness of it.
Well,
that's it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I have listened to every conversation that every time we've ever talked about Civ, I've listened to you, and I don't think I've ever come out of the conversation going, fuck, I might try that.
Okay.
And that's how I just came out of that conversation.
You think you might?
I don't know if I don't I guess it's really hard to like hear from, a friend who you really connect with about games. It's really hard to hear like something really touched and like made such a difference to them and not want to try it yourself. I mean, if you were like, oh man, this, I don't know, Call of Duty 4, like really, I'd be like, all right, maybe not that one, but maybe you'd even be able to say something about that would make me go, well, shit, maybe I misjudged it. Like, I mean, I can't remember if this happened just in the Discord or it started on the podcast, but like, I think it started on the podcast. We talked about Halo, and then someone came into the Discord and was like, this is why I love Halo. And I was like, oh shit, there's a part I've never seen, like.
And let me tell you, I don't know if it was before or after or coincidental, but Halo Master Chief Collection was on sale, deeply discounted on Steam. And then that lovely member of our Discord shared that, and I was like, yeah, let me just grab this, because like one day I will play all the Halo games. I will go through them again, because I have not played most of them. I would like to go through them all and then grab Infinite on sale somewhere or whatever, and then do all the Halos. That was it. That inspired me to take that ride, or to just make the purchase, keep it in the back pocket, right?
Yeah.
There's never been a better time to get into Civ, because as the proud new owner of an iPad Pro, as you told me, I've been playing it on Switch, and like I said, is it the most amazing version of the game? No, but like, there is an iPad version, and you've got the shiniest new iPad. Like, you don't have to be chained to your desk, pulling your hair out, looking at wikis, being like, I don't understand how productivity is measured in two cities. You can just be on the couch, just tapping on icons and being like, okay, let me do this here and let me do this here. And I hope and pray that there is a robust tutorial baked into the game, into the modern version of the game. As I may have said recently on this show, like, I'm really bummed that the Civilopedia, which is like the in-game wiki, is so lacking in Civ 6. I don't know why. It's so like, I find myself constantly being like, but this didn't answer the basic question I had about whatever this unit. Like, what?
I really wanted to
Tell
know
me
why you do this.
I would love to know, why do you do this? So you either have to be prepared to play 10 games of Civ and have no clue what you're doing and just completely flounder until you figure it out, or do that and constantly be Googling and wikiing and looking at tutorials and stuff. And I know that sucks and sounds bad, but the glory on the other side of that hurdle, that valley, that mountain, whatever, is so astounding.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, it's like an equation on the blackboard or playing piano, and you're just like, how could anyone fucking play piano? Look at all those fucking keys. Yeah. And then you practice piano for a long time, and then you're like, I play piano and here's a song.
Yeah.
It's that sense of accomplishment in a game like this. To me, I love that stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. Shit. So you're saying that I could play Civ 4 on my iPad?
Civ 6 for sure. I don't believe they ported the older games, but go 6, because it's got all the subsequent games have all the things that the previous games have in them, and 1,000 more improvements, systems, whatever, which again sounds like, oh my God, how could I play the thing with 1 billion systems? Well, can't I just play the thing with 1,000 systems? But they're also intertwined and interconnected, and they all do make sense when you hash them all out. You know what it is, what the drop off point was for me for so long was like, I understood the early game, and I understood like moving units and settlers around and gaining productivity and gaining resources and moving them, piping them through the cities. And I understood sort of expanding a small empire through the ancient and maybe medieval eras. And then what tended to happen was like, as you get into the Renaissance or the Industrial Age, there's like 500 more systems that start building on the previous stuff. And that's where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And I don't know how to stay competitive. And now I'm losing ground to my AI competitors. And that's a learning curve. Like you have to sort of so what it is like, I've spent 30 hours in a game that I literally have no idea how to finish or see through. And that's where you drop off. And what I would say is it's okay to drop off and start over, or just see it through and get clobbered and learn from that and then try again. But like, there's no way to pick it up for an hour and see if you like it. Like you gotta go all in, which is, I just said the same fucking thing about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 of like, no, I will not give it 30 hours before I fall in love with this game. But I assure you, there are 10,000 more hours to love once you get past the first 30 for something like Civ, for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, shit. Okay, I might look. I really might look. That's crazy. Can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah.
Oh, you know what you do? Here's what you do. It's on sale on Steam all the time for like stupid cheap. So it's like, maybe check the prices, decide how you want to play, and then be like, oh yeah, I'll buy Civ 6 for $1 or some shit on Steam. Kick the tires and then be like, all right, maybe there's something in this for me, but I'm not going to sit at the computer all day.
Yeah.
So then go buy it for $15 on the iPad and see if you can go from there. That might be a way in.
Definitely fair. Okay. Yeah.
And then if you're like, no, I can't, then that was $1 and 2 hours spent,
That would be correct. Good stuff. Okay. We did it.
That's it. We did it. We did number 4. Thank you so much for listening. We have lots of favorites in our Discord server, so come on in to the server. The link is always in the show notes of every single episode, but you have shared your favorite games, not necessarily stack ranked, but there's been a lot of conversation about why you love the things you love. We're gonna talk about them, but we just had to get the direct out of the way this week. So come on in there. Send us an email, tweet at us. All the links are down there in the show notes. And we're excited to do number 3. I got something good here for number 3. I know you do too.
Yes, I would say I do too. But yes, we will find out next week. Ha ha.
All right. We'll talk at you then.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.